This video is particularly important to me to get across my main message, or my main question. What are we supposed to do for real? We who are involved in what has been, twisted around, called all kinds of names, but basically at the heart of it, a movement of American patriots that want to fix the country. We want America to be America as it is designed to be, instead of what it is now. Some people call it the truth movement. Or this or that. We got to come up with a different name, probably. But, the higher-ups and the top-down fight against it all, against real patriots, the criminals. They get the media outlets to call people all kinds of names, and they do a pretty good job of diffusing the fire of real patriots into complacency and indecision and confusion. And not the least of which are the disinformation people. There's all kinds of outlets. One thing that occurred to me is that, say, you're on YouTube and you're hopping around, you watch this this man's report or this man's report. They always usually follow it with report. The Schiff report or the Kaiser report, this kind of stuff. No matter who it is, whether it's my honey Abby Martin or any other beautiful women on RT, they're standing there being brilliant, calling out, sarcastically, the corruption of the government. And all of these shows, they're just kind of as if they know what's going on, and they just kind of hash it out for an hour, and they just hope for advertising money and people to donate. And that's all they're really doing. They're telling us this information, which might be disinformation. We don't know. How are you supposed to check this stuff? But the main thing that's different between the two worlds, where it's the politics and the commentators are sarcastic, comedians who are just basically making fun of the politicians, or they're calling them out as liars. But, none of that sentiment translates or transforms into a pursuit of justice in the courts. Never. Never. All the politicians seem to be in on it. You got some crazy, obvious thing like 9/11, and none of them speak out. You will never hear a senator or a representative say, well, wait a minute. And they'll put on an act and act like they're upset about the commission or how this was handled, but they won't outright say, wait a minute, this is wrong, that was a military plane, there's nothing like that. Never hear one of them say no plane hit the Pentagon. And then we have, regrettably, us that are trying to really work it out on our own individually. We have these outlets like Alex Jones really stirring it up and trying to get people to fight back. And my main question, even to fans of Alex Jones who don't believe what I think about him, what do you think he wants you to do? I tell anybody, no matter what you think about Alex Jones with the extreme stuff, you have to do this. If you're an Alex Jones fan, you have got to routinely go back to that great broadcast of William Cooper's, where he exposed Alex Jones, what he did on December 31st, 1999. He was lying about all kinds of nuclear plant shutdowns, throwing in all this, outrage in Russia, and he was talking about Vladimir Putin. The underlying message was to scare people into think there were going to be a nuclear attack from Russia on the United States. And he did it for 3 hours. Now, the deduction you have to make when you find out that he lied about all of it, was that the federal government set him up to do it. What they want is for people to do something dumb. They want people to just give them an excuse to declare martial law. They actually want that. Because what they want is to enact all these takeover moves of people individually, companies, commerce, everything. They want to have an excuse. And it's to America's credit that it hasn't taken the bait. And I think the powers that be are pretty shocked about that. This is a big country. There's a lot of people hurting. And the people don't take the bait. We haven't had major rioting since 1992. And even at these protests where the people are treated horribly by the police, there's still not a backlash of actual violence. There's a lot of people that know how to make bombs, and a lot of people with guns. You would think there would be some group that would just hit a group of police at one of those rallies or something. You would think that would happen, but it doesn't. It's the same thing with the Muslim world. As badly as they're treated, you would think those people that lost their family members would all get together and just say, to hell with America, do whatever they can to get into this country and blow up the infrastructure. It's to their credit. They're good people. They do not want to, they know that the American people are innocent of this, and it's just the leaders, and they can't get to the leaders. So you got to ask yourself what we're going to do. My thought has just been, as carefully as you can do it, get groups together that protest very specific issues with regard to tax and itemize what you don't like, real specific. The IRS and all of the taxation in this country is the most corrupt, wrong thing there is to start with regard to us, the citizens. We're robbed. We are robbed every year, and they try to rob every household in the country and infiltrate the country with illegal residents from other countries to take the jobs, and they don't do anything to crack down on them, and they give them incentives to get tax credits. They get money from the IRS, while we have to give money to the IRS. And they give them places to live, and they give them cars and jobs. You'll never see a Hispanic on the road with a sign saying, please help me, I'm hungry. You won't. It's because they're given money by the federal government. The federal government wants to get rid of the Caucasian middle class. So once you realize that, and you realize that someone like Alex Jones is totally on the take, probably from the feds and the Stratfor network from Israel, he's getting so good at telling you all these things like he's exposing criminals, but what it really is underlying is that he's bragging about what they're doing. And the point is to make people mad so they will do something. You'll never see him tell you how to file a class action lawsuit. You'll never see him organize a rally where people donate money, not to his InfoWars webpage, but donate money to a legal defense and a legal offense against the government. And that's what he should do. That's what anyone who's in a position of power should do. People want to donate money. People want to contribute to some cause of justice. And if you're going to donate money, it's got to be to a legal team that goes after the government. You never see that. Nobody does that. And that's what cancels Alex Jones out and Kaiser and all of them. They just want money for themselves. And they're using all these things, and they're probably fed information directly by the federal government to instigate irrational behavior by the population of the United States. You should always go back to that. There's a good webpage called Conspiracy Scope. I hate having a conspiracy in the name of YouTube page, but it's a guy that has some pretty good stuff. It's called The Alex Jones Deception. And it's the full episode from January 4th of 2000 where Bill Cooper lays it out about what Alex Jones is. There's just no doubt about it. So everything he's done since is trying to, clean that away and dust it behind the door. But you got to remind yourself of what he did. He tried to make the Y2K scare turn into War of the Worlds. It was just a classic Orson Welles thing, but it wasn't a joke. And there's a real good chance that he's, been funded by the criminal federal government the whole time. All the while speaking against them as if, just to cover his cover. And it's just, no. He's with them, and he's an instigator, a fearmonger. And like when he has some guy on like Dr. Pachenik, you got to ask yourself, wait a minute. Steve Pachenik is exposing all of these people that he works for? You really think that's the truth? You really think that's the truth? No. That's a special black op when he goes on to the Alex Jones show. His superiors tell him to do that. They're like, yeah, say this, and say this, and make it so you win the trust of the American people, like you're fighting against your hand that feeds you. That's not what he's doing. And that's not what any of them are doing. They want violence. They want outbreak of violence, and people aren't taking the bait. What you got to do is rally and trust each other. You've got to trust each other, and you've got to be good to each other, and you cannot argue. If you got some disagreements, you can't say, oh, well, the hell with that guy, I'm going to find... You're always by yourself, notice that? You got to find a common ground. And if you're going to donate money to anything, donate to a legal fund where you go into the circuit court system and you pay a little bit money to some decent media outlets that'll give exposure to what's going on, not the mainstream places. Unless you want to fund an ad that'll definitely get broadcast on NBC. But, don't trust those people to be on your side. They're not going to, because they're with the criminals, the banking criminals. They'll take the money and run an ad, but you got to be strategic about it. And, God, I always thought if you could just wake up one state, just one state, get people to boycott Walmart, get people to specialize in assigning dates to boycott, gasoline and this commercial outlet or that, and just make the point and make the point and make the point. You're not getting our money. We're sick of giving our money to this. We don't want to pay these high gas prices and gas heating prices for homes and electricity, water. It's all ridiculous, and it's all run by the same people. They want people locked down to working their tail off just to pay their gas bill and feed their kids, so they don't have any innovative time to fight against the powers. And it works. But they want even more than that. The reason all the foreclosures happen is just because they want to monetize property for the Federal Reserve money that's printed. And that's the reason Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac take everybody's houses. It's all tied to the Federal Reserve, and so is the IRS, and it all goes to banking criminals. Who knows who they are, but you definitely know who works for them. And that's what it's all about. And those are a small group of people. We're dealing with a small group of people. And regrettably, a larger group of people that are compliant with them because they want to save their jobs and their career. I always thought if we could wake up the IRS workers and wake up the military, we got a real chance. There's not a city in the country that couldn't take out the cops of that country, of that city. There's 100 cops and there's 20,000 people. Yeah, they wouldn't stand a chance. So it's just